No.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to stop and start back. Let me just type a note on there for them so they can know.
Right.
Can you hear me, guys?
1 second. Stop. Right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Sound is on now. Okay. Yay. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Guys, I'm going to have to get a new laptop. Oh my goodness. This is the third time that this has happened. You can hear me now. Yay. I'm so excited. Thank you, God. Look at God. Well, well. Guys, thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate you. I'm going to get a new laptop because this is the third time it has happened, and I really want you guys to be a part of it, especially this conversation tonight. It is so critical and so important. My husband is going to be right here in just a minute. He's just sending the link to his mom because she wanted to be a part of it. So I just want to give a shout out to all the people I'm seeing so far. Karen, my friend, hello, hello, welcome. I hope you're still there. Mabel Stable says, hello, you too. How are you? We are wonderful. And then I said, don't know what's going on with your volume, Marlene. Well, I hope that you came back and you can hear me. She's okay. Pastor Juanita says, yeah, hello, everyone. Now we can hear. Carol Moore, Minister Moore says, sound is on now. Neil Price says, yes. Okay, Bruce Lee says yes. Keisha, hello, Peter and Keisha here. Hi guys, I'm so happy to see you all. Oh, this is like an early Valentine's gift for me because it's not just for couples, guys. It's for everyone. So I'm not gonna take too long since you already took up some of your time. Oh, and Johnson Home Decor, I gotta say hello to you. That's my good friend right there. So, guys, it's really a Valentine's special that we're doing this evening. And basically, we're just going to be going over because we've had 24 years of marriage, thanks be to God. And we've learned a lot of things along the way. I know some of you on there, like Neil and Marie, you guys are married at maybe like 5 years old, so you have a couple years on us.
Hi,
Here
everybody.
he is. He made it over. So your mom has the link now, right?
Yep, you got a
Okay.
link.
Yeah, so we're just going to go over the lessons that we have learned over the years, and of course, there's no perfect marriage. Ours certainly isn't. I would never say that we are. So basically, we're just, learning as we go and we learn from each other. We give you some ideas, you
Hmm.
give us some, whether you're older or younger in marriage, is pretty much still the same thing. So I just wanted to first of all give a background since it is Valentine's that's coming up, just to give you a background on Valentine's Day, how it all came about from what they're telling us. And the first one is they're saying that it was a priest. His name was Valentine, and he actually defied the Rome emperor, whose name was Claudius, Emperor Claudius. He had banned marriages because he thought it would have been a distraction for younger soldiers. They get married and then they're not involved with the war anymore. They're distracted because their wife is back home. So he banned marriages. But the priest Valentine, he went ahead and he married people anyway, and eventually they put him in prison and eventually died. But people remember him. I think they said his birthday is on February 14th. That's how it
Yeah.
came about.
Hmm.
So that's what I heard. I mean, there are some other little things along the way as well too, but that one is the main one that I got from it. So did you want to say anything before we go to the first point?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody. One thing that I remember before we got, just when we were getting married, that we put God as the center of it. So I just want to encourage everybody. Whatever you're going through, and just let God be the center of your marriage, because that will keep everything going the way it's supposed to. It's not about I'm being right, she's being right, whoever. It's about what is right, and that is the standard, and that basically helps to keep everything going the way it's supposed to. You know.
Absolutely. And Neil and Marie, they're actually younger than us, but they've been married for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yay!
You guys.
Congratulations, guys. You are
Yeah.
doing this. Thank you, Mondale from Johnson Home Decor, for
Yep.
your congratulations. All right. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was basically even getting into the relationship, getting into marriage. That for me personally, because sometimes some of us have to kiss a few frogs before we find the prince, right?
Okay.
So the main thing is to make sure that you are looking out for the
One
red
second.
flags, because there are going to be red flags. God, he's going to show them to you. You have to decide if you're going to ignore them or not. And of course, guys, feel free at any time to put comments in here that you think will help people. Thank you, Minister Moore. Thank you, Miss Carol. I appreciate you so much. We appreciate you. But I'd say look out for the red flags, because for the most part, if people are doing things in a relationship, it's going to spill right over into the marriage. And so, the warnings come off from time to time. I know sometimes, sometimes you don't want to hear what your parent is saying, but honestly, they have been through life. They've seen a lot of things. So they may be like, something's not right there. And
Yeah.
usually they're right. In a couple of instances, my mom had said something. I was like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And eventually I came to find out that she did know what she was talking about, right? It just took me some time to
Yeah.
get caught up with it. But look at the person, how do they act when they are angry? Because as they say, like when you squeeze the toothpaste, that's how you know what's inside, that's what comes out. So when the person is angry, how are they reacting? And because sometimes the anger that they display, because everybody gets angry. We're human, things happen and they upset us. But when they show you that anger, how is it coming out? Because honestly, one day you guys are going to argue too, and that anger will be directed at you. So you have to look at all of that and see what you're able to deal with.
Yeah. Because I mean, one of the things I always tell people that when they're getting married is there's an old saying from Jamaica, teeth and tongue will meet. And the bottom line is that that's the reality of life. You will have moments when things are great, but then you'll have moments when you don't see eye to eye. And the thing is, when that happens, how you deal with it is what makes a difference.
Yep.
And are you committed? And the whole thing of when we go through the vows and things like that. A lot of people have changed the vows because they don't want to hear about the bad times.
Yes, in good
So
times
they
and in
talk about
for
all the
better or
good
for
things,
worse.
right? And the
Yes.
bottom line is, life is a mixture, and you have to take your lemons and make lemonades. You have to make it work.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
Hi, Age Graceful. Thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate you.
Right.
And I'm going to touch on your subject, her specialty. It's a little further down, but she has a specialty, so we're going to touch on it. And we have a couple of ladies on here. They do have YouTube channels as well, too. Johnson Home Decor, Two Georgia Peaches, Mabel's Tables, Age Graceful. They have YouTube channels, so be sure to check them out whenever
Yeah.
you have a chance. You can always make a note if the live doesn't replay. And it says, I saw your IG post. Yes, I put it there. I got him in. So
Hey, I'm here
anyway,
to support.
thank you, thank you.
She does a great job, and all you guys do a great job. Keep up your good ministry, because it's to help somebody out there.
In some way.
It's important. So
Yes.
the husbands, my hats off to all the guys who are supporting their wives, and all the different families that are supporting the different teams. Good job. Keep doing it.
Okay. Our second anniversary is Monday, so I had to. Oh, congratulations! That
Good
is
job.
wonderful. I think I saw a picture at one point when you were doing one of your decorations. I saw a picture of you and your husband. That was so sweet. I'm just like,
Nice.
oh, she put that in there. That was really nice. But anyway, so of course you look out for the red flags. You try to make some good decisions, as to whoever it may be. But at the same time, oh, she says Dexter and Mondale here. All right, Dexter.
Nice.
Good, good, good.
Respect,
Yes,
sir.
absolutely. He supports her 100%.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
there
I
is
see
no
it.
joke. You guys
Yeah.
got to watch that channel because you will see Dexter popping up on there somewhere on Johnson Home Decor, and they really work together so much as a wonderful team. And they're people of faith too, so that is always such a blessing. So of course, you go through the phase, relationship, and everything. But like I said, look out for the red flags, please, because there's a reason why. If something doesn't feel right in your gut, you really have to have the courage to walk away. If everybody coming and telling you that there's something wrong with this person because you're under the emotions, you're probably not going to want to believe them. But if that many people are telling you, you really need to stop and take a look and say, what am I really getting into? And it's a hard decision. It's hard to walk away when you're emotionally involved. But a lot of times that's the easier route to get out before you even get any deeper into the situation. Like I said, my husband was never my first date. I got married at 31 years old, just barely on the calendar. So I had a couple dates in the past, before I met and married my husband. And so I understand that there are situations that arise when you're kind of like, something is not right here. Mama tell you something, your good friend that you trust tell you something, you kind of have to look a little bit into it. But we move on now to the wedding, wonderful, nice, beautiful wedding dress. All your family and your friends are there to see you. And it's a wonderful time. You drive off in that car, and then the rubber hits the road because that's where the reality comes in. All the wonderful wedding celebration is over, and we have to walk into it at that point. So The first thing we wanted to talk about was the honeymoon. Of course, not the detailed physical side of it, but the
No.
emotional side of it, which is
Mm.
basically to just enjoy each other as best as you can. It doesn't have to be anything that's expensive and anything that's fancy. It's just you being away from everything else, taking time off to get to know each other and all of that. Because in the Bible, you'll see that, when the men got married in the first year,
Get
they
1 year off.
did not have to go to war. It didn't matter what kind of war was going on. In the first year after marriage, they were exempt from all of that. And that's because you need time to get to know
Your
your
family.
spouse,
Yep.
get to
Mhm.
know the person,
Mhm.
get to love them more. If somebody asks you a question about them, and even sometimes my husband is still kind of like,
No. Hey.
but if they say, and don't give any answers because some of these we use them as passwords and different identifiable information. But if the person says, what is your husband's first favorite color? What is their favorite dish? What is their favorite book? Where do they like to go? What do they prefer, like long walks, or would they prefer maybe like to go to the movies or go out for dinner? So you get to know the person. Do they like wearing wigs? Do they prefer their hair natural?
Okay.
Do they like purses? Do they like name brand stuff? Are they kind of okay they don't have them? And because when you're in the relationship part, of course, you want to put your best foot forward, right? So
Right.
you're going to try to impress the person, and they're not really living with you in most cases. So you get to see the perfect rose glass picture of it. When the honeymoon comes and moving on from there, that's when the real person is going to come out. I mean, the real person, you'd have known them because you've been dating them and you would want to get to know them. But I'm just saying, when you're completely relaxed, you're at home, there is no makeup, there is no hairpiece, there is no fancy hairdo. You woke up in the morning, all messy and
Mhm.
crumpled up. That's the real person right there. And are you ready to deal with that? You know what I mean? So that is the main thing right there. Getting to know them during the honeymoon phase when things are still light and easy and all of that. And then you just you let me just take a look at the chat here. I don't want to be going too far ahead. It says, Bruce Lee says, in the multitude of counsel, there is wisdom. Oh, absolutely. So we're all here to learn from each other, guys. So please feel free to use the chat because we have things that we have to learn
Right.
as well as to give information out. Because, like I said, there is no perfect marriage. Honestly, before the fall in our Garden of Eden, that probably was the only perfect one. But after that one, sin came in. Mistakes are made. Things happen. So you have to just know how to maneuver your way and get around to it. So Neil says, a quote a dear pastor known well used to say, love is blind, but marriage is an eye opener.
Yeah.
That is, and see, age graceful. Remind me of your name again, my dear. I forgot. Please, age graceful. Let's put your name in the chat for me if you don't mind. But she said exactly because we know, because when you're in love, it's
Yeah.
butterflies and roses, and you're looking cute all the time, looking handsome all the time. And then when you have to live with each other, you get to see Michelle. Thank you, Miss Michelle. I appreciate you. So you get to see all of the nitty gritty. Everything is coming out.
Mhm.
But if things are done in love, as I said, it covers a multitude of sins. So if you love the person, then of course you're gonna try to do things to make it work because that's why you're there, for it to work. She says you are welcome. Yes, thank you, ma'am. All right, so that is the honeymoon part, getting to know each other. And then the next thing is, that your spouse is a priority because you're trying to get to know each other. So they really have to be the priority. Yes, they're going to be things. Your job is going to come in and you have to keep your job because you got to keep a roof over your head. You'll have friends, ladies, guys, whoever it may be. This is not the time to say you're going to be hanging out with the boys. This is the honeymoon stage. And so they have to understand. And this is where boundaries come into play, I would
Right.
say. And they have to understand maybe as we used to hang out like on Thursdays, as ladies' night every Thursday and everything, or you hang out with your boys on a Friday evening or whatever the case may be. When you get married, that kind of has to change. Like me personally, I had a lot of male friends and they were platonic relationships. But once I got married, I knew that I had to cut them. Not that I wouldn't say hi to them or whatever, but we're not going to be talking on the phone about what you're going through, what I'm going through, or anything like that. That part came and went. It's on to the next phase. So I'm not saying you can't have your friends and hang out with them and all of that, but you have to be very careful, about what you're doing once, you put the ring on and you're moving
Yeah.
into the next step. So guys, you can tell me how you feel about that. about hanging out with the boys, hanging out with the girls. Every now and then, of course, you have to do it, regardless of what stage in marriage you are, because that's a part of you as well.
Relationships, right?
But still, you kind of have to have that balance, especially, I would think, in the earlier phases of your marriage. So again, guys, please free to use the chat, and you can also give us a thumbs up too, so this will go out to more people, whether during the live or afterwards, so they can get this information as well. And the next again is even your family too, because your family, you grew up with them all these years, you're hardwired with your family. But once that time comes, they have to understand that you kind of have to back off a little bit and give them some room to get to know each other. And even as a mother, I have two boys. They're both college age boys. One has one more year after this year to go, and the other one, he's a freshman. And of course, I'm already thinking ahead that someday they're gonna get married, God willing, and have their spouse. And I'm just wanting to be conscious to myself too that when that time comes, I have to understand that I have to give them their space. But I'm always here. It's an open door.
Yeah.
So if they need to talk, then I'm gonna be here, and they can feel free that I'm not going to be judgmental. I'll just try to guide them as best as I can and try to be friends, even from before they get married. Try to be friends with them so they understand that you care and you're there, and we're working together. We're not like, us
Yeah.
here, you there, and you have to choose. Jules, good night. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you. So we're talking about marriage, leading into marriage and all the different things that it involves. And we're trying to get as much information out in the chat as we can. And I'll read them as we go along, just so we can help each other. My name is Marlene. If you have never been here before, this is Marlene's How To's, my home and garden channel. This is my husband here, Mark, affectionately known. And my live videos are normally, we just shoot the breeze. Anything that's topical is Valentine's right now. So I figured this would be perfect for this. So we kind of just shoot the breeze. It could be about whatever is topical at the time. My regular videos are gardening videos. So you can always check those out whenever you like. So that's as far as the honeymoon part and knowing what your boundaries are. So let me see. Age Graceful says, that is true. I only have my lady friends at this point in my life. Due to the pandemic, I have not seen half of them since they stood up in my wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she said, this is Tamika Rosero here. Tamika, oh, let me give her a hug right now. I miss you. She went back to Guyana to help her parents
Good
out
job.
to
Yeah.
get their house
Mhm.
repaired and so on. And that is so, so nice. I just, I take my hat off to you. Much respect to you. And I hope everything works out really well for you and in a timely manner. They don't give you
Yeah.
any trouble down there. You get, good what do you call them again? The people do construction.
Yeah. Workmen, because you have foremen and so on. So just make sure
Contractors, that's the word I'm
yeah.
looking for. Yes, that you get some good contractors, because
Mhm.
sometimes they'll come and they're not very above board, and then
Yeah.
all kind of stuff coming off. So I pray that you'll have a really good experience with that. And Miss Penny is here. Hi, Miss Penny. Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome from Penny's Lifestyle Living. She also has a YouTube channel as well. So, all right. And there, you can talk to each other in the chat too. We're perfectly fine with that. So we were talking about setting boundaries, for your family, your friends, hanging with the boys, hanging out with the girls. That, when you get married, you kind of have to change it up. They're gonna be there. You'll need them. They'll need you too.
Right.
But there has to be a balance once you get to that point. So that's basically, where we're going with this. And of course, if we're open to disagreement. If you disagree with us, no problem. You can just tell us. We'll take a look at it as well too. Others will see what you're putting there, and we can decide, how we feel about it, and just take it from there. So we are on to this next subject, a very interesting one.
So she drinks some water.
Yeah, my mouth is dry. This one is when we argue, because, as my husband said earlier, at some point, as we say in Jamaica, teeth and tongue will meet.
Yep.
So there's going to come a point when you end up arguing because you disagree. And I said this to my son because, we do argue sometimes. I'm never going to lie about it. I'll never hide it. We do. Sometimes I'm upset or he's upset. And I tell my sons all the while, I say to them, I say, if there is a marriage and the people never ever argue, that marriage is probably not going to work. And the reason is because people are not being honest.
Right.
Because you can only take so much. If you agree with everything your husband says or everything your wife says, and because you want the relationship to work, you want the marriage to work, there's going to come a point when you can't do it anymore.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know, in saying that also, just be mindful, be honest with each other, right? You set the boundaries. If you don't agree, one thing I always say to my wife, I said, if you see me upset and not my normal self, check and ask, when is the last time you read your Bible? When is the last time you prayed? Because how your relationship is with your father, who is God, will basically help how you relate to your wife, right? Because that makes a big difference. If you disagree, how you say it, what you say, makes a big difference, right? You don't just say words because and we're in the throes of people doing stuff on you, Facebook and whatever. Be mindful of the things you say. Be mindful of the things you do. It's in writing, right? So
Yes.
don't, rather than get upset and say something you shouldn't say. I tell guys all the time, we're getting married or whatever. If you're upset, take a walk. Give yourself some ear.
Have you taken many walks?
Hey, you see how slim I am? I take walks. And I say to you guys,
That's not it. You were
yeah,
always
yeah,
slim. And
I
probably
was
ready.
skinny. Yeah. Anyway,
So
the bottom,
funny.
bottom line is this: when you take a walk, you get to clear the air. You're not in the moment. You don't say what you have to say, right?
Hmm.
In the wrong way. You come back. You talk to God. You pray. You think about it.
Yes.
Was she right? Was I, or did we not understand?
Oh my
Are we
gosh,
saying the
misunderstandings.
same thing but in a different
Oh,
way? Because sometimes I'll say, go that way and turn right, and she said, yeah, but you turn by the left house and all. I said, that's what I said, turn right. I mean, but we have to be real. We have to be
yes.
real, and sometimes, hey, I'm wrong because you know I'm thinking one way, but I'm misunderstanding what she's saying. And the bottom line is, when I understand that, and I'll come back and say, hey, you were right. I thought this is what you meant, but this is what I think this is, if this is what you're saying, tell me. And then she'll confirm, yeah, this is what I'm saying, and I'll go, okay, all right, I get it, cool, you're right. And we just go past that. But sometimes, again, we might not be seeing eye to eye, so
Yes.
we pray about it.
So I'm going to read some of the comments, guys. So let me see here. So Mondale from Johnson Home Decor, she says, yes, LOL, teeth and tongue meet. Yes, because you're going to have disagreements. And then it says, arguing is healthy in a relationship. It fosters growth. And she's been in this for 30 years. Like I said, they got
Right.
married when they were like 5 years old. Because they're younger than us and they've been at it for 30 years, And I was there when you guys were newlyweds, so I didn't get the wedding, but I got to know your husband shortly after. I think when you guys were engaged, for business reasons, I got to know her husband
Yeah.
Neil, and then they got married. I wasn't a part of that yet, but then we started going to the same
She
church,
said she was
so
6
I
years
got
old.
to. Okay, Marie, so you
Sorry.
gave yourself one more year. All right, no problem. So you're 36. Okay, cool. So Penny says yes, balance is something. Marriage and children, job, church, etc. We don't have time for friends unless your spouse gives you a break for a night out. Yes, you
Yeah.
have a break every now and then.
And we'll discuss,
It-
we'll come to that as well
oh yeah, we're
also.
gonna get
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
point too. And Miss Mabel says we argued, but we did not go below the belt. That is
Hmm.
really hurt the other. My husband used to walk away. Yes, because and that's what I was coming to in here when you argue. That's one of the points. When you argue, is the way you have to. Well, I shouldn't say you have to. Arguing is healthy, but it's the way that you do it going to
Right.
determine if it's healthy or not. Because if you're physically attacking the person, like I mean, not like hitting them, but I mean like not physical. That's not the word I want.
If
But that is
your
one too.
words
You don't
are
want to
hurting,
physically hurt them, but
right?
you don't want to tear the person down, like their persona, like you're an ugly person, or you're so fat, or you're so skinny, or you never get anything right, or you don't know how to cook, or you're an idiot. I mean,
Yeah.
that is just
Yes.
horrible.
No.
And how do
No.
you come back from that? Because that is back here. You're not gonna forget that.
Yeah.
You may get to the point where you can forgive it, but you're not gonna forget it. It's still
Yes.
gonna be there. And sometimes you see people revisiting all of that all over again and again. I remember when you had said so and so. Why? Because it hurt them so much, and it's still back here somewhere.
Right.
So let me see. So she says, yes, so don't hit below. And like I said, physical too, that's definitely a no-no. That is absolutely out of there. We have no place for
Yeah.
that because there's no reason for you to get physical, in hitting somebody. And honestly, if you're going through something, because people go through things at different times, and if they are going through something and you're in that state of mind, you really need to seek some counseling, because there are people out there that can help you. It could be a professional counselor. We're not professional counselors.
Yeah.
We're just people that have been married for 24 years, and we're just trying to tell what we learned and learning from each other here. But sometimes you'll need to go to a professional so you can talk with them, and they can help you to get over what it is that's causing this in you. Sometimes somebody may have seen abuse growing up, and somehow when they get to a point, there are just other things in life that's crowding them in, and that's the way they react. And unfortunately, you know, it just leads from one thing to the other. It starts off as one thing, and then, because I remember I was watching a movie, no, not a movie, a documentary one time, and then she said how the progression came when her husband became abusive. She said first it was verbal. He would just say bad things like, "You're stupid, you're an idiot, you have no sense, da 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 da," and then all of a sudden he got to the point where he started pinching her. That was the next stage. He would pinch her, and she's just like, "Oh, it's just a pinch. She loves me, da da da." Then it came from a pinch to an open-faced hand. He would start slapping her like in her face, on her back, and all of that. Then it got from him slapping her with an open hand to him punching her. And it's the man that's doing this to her, punching her. Then it got from him punching her to him kicking her, then kicking and punching. And then she realized that they really had to have an intervention, and he would get people to come in and help. So these, like I said, if you ever find yourself in that space, there are people out there, there are professionals that can help you. You can talk to a pastor, just someone that you feel that you can confide in. Because I know that things happen in life and people do things for a reason. There's something that's hurting them inside, and somehow they lash out that way. So I would just say, get professional help. But of course, pray.
First and foremost.
That is the most, I tell you, people say pray as a cliche sometimes, but for us, listen, there is power in prayer. I've seen some changes happen in different people over time, and it's because of prayers. You're not always going to be immediate. Sometimes you won't get the answer you want right away. But I would say try it if you have never done. When your knees hit that floor, if you lay in your bed or your back or whatever you're doing it, I would say definitely go for it. So let's see. She said, Miss Mabel says, yes, sometimes we end up laughing because when we really looked at the argument, it was funny and stupid.
Yeah.
And misunderstandings is such a big thing. You say something you mean, and even in just regular relationships, you mean it one way and somebody take it a completely different way. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you just have to, bear those things in mind. John's Home Decor says, congrats to all the marriages in the chat. Yes, congratulations to all of you. And let me see here now. Oh, Warren. Hi, Warren.
Yeah, congrats
He
on
says,
the new
hey,
baby.
Auntie, welcome. So I want to see your perspective towards how you deal with some of these things, as they're fairly newlyweds. Is it like 3 years that you're married now? I can't quite remember. That's my nephew, actually. And they have a new baby as well, so just a few months old. So of course, that is a whole different section, which we're going to touch a little bit, further down in the conversation. But yes, how you relate to each other, you are going to have times when you argue, but at the same time, it's like, you have to understand that
2 years.
Oh, so he said 2 years married. Okay. So you guys were quick. Listen, I think we hold the record, right? Because we got married, and 3 months into the marriage,
No.
I discovered that I was pregnant. It was 3. Don't listen to him, guys. You don't know. I'm the one that had a cycle, so I know. Okay, it was 3 months in. Well, okay, I guess I was pregnant at 2 months, but I didn't know because of my hormone and things happening that so 3 months in we discovered that we were pregnant. So let's see. What we have here. Oh, Miss Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Good evening. Welcome. So Miss Mabel says physical fighting was out of our marriage. Absolutely. My husband never struck me in over our 51 years. Congratulations. Woo, I should have my bell to ring. 51 years. Yes. She says, but we did argue. Absolutely. God definitely has to be the head of your marriage. Yes, you have to pray. Pray without ceasing. It's no joke. I'm telling you. So he says together for overall 10 years. So you guys, so you took a little while to make the to have the okay, whatever works for you, because you guys were really young anyway. So I get that. So you guys were together for overall of 8 years, and then you got married, and now you have a little baby. So that is absolutely wonderful. Look at Deborah. Deborah says 36 years of marriage for my husband and myself. Again, congratulations. And unfortunately, that seems almost like unusual these days. I don't know what's going to happen based on, how God's doing his time and everything. I hope that this will be the norm in the future, unless unless God says otherwise. We really hope that marriages will start having some longevity, because there are so many of them out there, they don't last for long. And sometimes, like I said, it's because sometimes a person just wants to have a wedding. They don't really want to have a marriage and go through the, because it
Yeah.
is work.
Or a trophy
It
wife
is work. They
or
want a trophy
whatever.
wife,
Yeah.
or they're going for the wrong reasons, or they're ignoring the red
Money.
flags that God is trying to show
You know.
them. Just different
Yeah.
reasons. So, you know, there's that part of it. So we got to the part about, you know, when you argue what to do. And then there is always this common statement that says, you should not, don't go to bed angry. And it sounds really good, but guys, I'm being honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. If my husband offended me like just before bedtime, I'm probably not gonna be over it before I go to sleep. And he is not either. If he tells you he is, he's not being truthful.
I never, like I said, I just,
That doesn't mean that you're not angry, though.
yeah.
You're going to bed angry. So if it happens early in the day, or even if you're someone who can get over it really quick, after it happens, depending on how severe it is, that whatever it is happened, and you can get over it really quickly, then of course, by all means, right away, absolutely. But sometimes it can happen. It happens later in the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
and an apology goes such a long, long way.
And the thing
Say
is,
you are sorry
yeah,
and really, really mean it.
yeah, because I mean, there have been cases where people say, "I'm sorry," and you can look, and it's
Sarcastically.
just like, I'm sorry because you just want to say, "I'm sorry."
Right.
But when you look at the heart, you look at the words, the tone, everything, it's not genuine. So I mean, the bottom line, if it's not genuine, you're not going to receive it. So be honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, if you don't understand, right, then just say, hey, I don't understand. I know I upset you. This is how I look at it. you know I'm saying I don't like what we're doing here. It's not right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that, but let's figure out what we don't agree on, right?
Yeah.
Don't just sweep it under the rug
And
and
pretend.
pretend it's gonna
Yeah,
get
because
better.
it's not
You
gonna.
have to be honest, because it's gonna fester. It's
It
gonna
really
be
will.
poisonous, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to basically be honest about it, and
Yes.
be committed to work it out. You have to, because
Absolutely.
if you're not committed to deal with it and face it head on, then you're just pretending, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work. So
So, like I said before, if you never argue, one day it's gonna blow up.
yeah,
I promise you,
yeah,
because we're human. That's how God made us. We
yeah.
have emotions. So at some point, it is gonna come out. And when it comes out, and everything comes out at once, that is the worst time. So let me take a look and see
Yeah, Neil
what we
said,
have
swallow
here.
your pride and apologize. Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
and really
say it. Be
mean it
honest. Be
too.
honest. Be honest.
Absolutely.
Because we're not perfect, and God tells us we need to love our wives the same way He loves the
The
church.
church,
So
yes.
we have to go ahead, set the pace, and remember. Also, your kids are watching. Other people are watching. They can learn from that. It's not
Yes.
about being right. It's about doing what is right, and doing the right thing, right? So it's not winning. It's about you know you winning together.
Absolutely. And let me just take a look at some of the comments. So Deborah says communication and trust is the key
Hmm.
for a good marriage. Yes, you
Yep.
have to have an open line of communication. Miss Mabel says, my husband passed on January 29, 2018,
Mm.
and I loved him so much. He's still in my heart.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. And I really hope that he will rest in peace. But you had so many wonderful years
Yep.
together, and that's what you really have to thank God for.
Yep.
That it really is a blessing, honest to goodness. Deborah Kabasa says Mabel, and he will. Oh yeah, he will remain in
Yep.
your heart. Absolutely. And Neil says, swallow your pride and apologize. He put an exclamation mark because he's really serious about it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you're so hot in the moment that you're not ready to apologize. And honestly, if you're not ready, don't bother with it. Because if it is not genuine, the person can tell that you, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That does nothing for me.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything for him. Matter of fact, it might make it even worse, because it's kind of like, oh, so you still don't realize that you offended me. And listen to the funniest part now. Sometimes you are the one who was wronged, and you still have to go and make amends, because sometimes I will do that. He offended me, and I'll still go and I said, I'm sorry the way that things, this blew out of proportion or whatever. And I know that you didn't mean it because XYZ, whatever, whatever. And then we move on from there. And of course, he'll apologize or whatever. Because in some relationships, there's somebody who is the first to apologize. Not every time, but sometimes it's easier for some
Yeah.
people to apologize than others, from
Right.
what I have seen. So let me see. What did Miss Penny say? I don't see it.
It's right here.
She said amen to, I mean, I didn't see it.
No, she's
So
saying about
Miss Penny, I'm not sure, but we'll
yeah.
catch up to it at some point, I would imagine. So Two Georgia Peaches says, yes, some people are not built to apologize, it seems. Yeah. And that does happen. Some people are just that way. They kind of like, it's very hard for them. And sometimes it's their culture, it's the way that they were raised. They're not used to seeing it. And so it is extremely hard for them. And this is why that counseling, when you're leading into marriage, counseling is very important,
Very.
and not just for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This is something that should be going on for maybe at least 3 months, and you're meeting once per week or as often as you can, because again, people look at marriage and they're, oh, marriage, roses, butterflies, da da da, whatever not, and they haven't been told about the other side of it, and then they're taken, they're blindsided, and it just makes it very difficult for them to adapt to that situation. So let me see. So
It's FL.
Ethel Robinson, hello Ethel, welcome, welcome. It says arguing makes it healthy and apologies make it love. Absolutely. And again, we said earlier, I'm not sure if you were earlier in the chat, but we said that, it's the way that you argue is to, as they say, argue fairly, do it in a way where you're not attacking the person's persona, like, you're stupid or you're ugly, you're fat, you're skinny, you don't have any sense or anything like that. So, that kind of a situation really helps when you argue. Do it the right way. So Penny says, marriage is more than just getting a license and saying I do. It takes God to make us one. Marriage is ministry. Absolutely. Because people can see you. People see what you're doing. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
And even though sometimes we can pretend on the outside that everything is perfect, do you know who it is that knows what your marriage is really about? If you have any, your children.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you portray. You put on your clothes, you look nice going into church, or you're going into work, or going out to dinner, whatever. Your children are the one who will tell the story about what your marriage is really about, because they get to see everything. They see you argue, they see you make up bad, they see that you don't, you're taking care of each other. So they see all of these things, and they know. And they get to see dirty laundry because you're living in the house with you. But when you step out of that door, you need to put your best foot forward, your best face on. Yes, you're going to have disagreements and everything, but still, you can't put your dirty laundry out there. And again, my
Right.
husband mentioned earlier, social media, do
Yeah,
not put it
don't.
on there. Don't put it on there.
And even not just marriage and so on, but with your friends and those relationships and so on, don't do it. I mean, I know people use it to vent and all that, but at the same time, it's a public arena. So, don't. A lot of people use this to just let it out, let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just everything is fair play as they put it. But
Yeah,
once
that's
it's
not
out
right.
there, it's
You
gone.
can't get it
You can't get it
back.
back. And the bottom line is, you may people who do those things figure they're doing whatever, but they're actually hurting themselves.
Mm-hmm. And the
Because it
relationship.
shows the kind of person that you are.
Mm-hmm. And you
And-
may be going through something, honey.
Yeah.
Figure you need to vent. That's
Mhm.
probably not the place to
Yeah.
do it. And honestly, people look down on people. I mean, I haven't gone to a counselor myself, but there is nothing wrong with going to a counselor. That's someone that can help you if you're going through something. So that way, they're there for you to vent to them. They're professionals. They're paid for you to do that. So talk to them, but don't put yourself on social media, because, or even sometimes even with your family, it's not everything that happens between you and your spouse. You go and tell to your mother, you go tell to your sister, you go tell to your brother, because guess what? They're going to hold on to that. They're not going to let that go. And then when you have forgiven each other and you have moved on, they have not, and they will not forget it.
Yeah.
So that is the next thing again. You have to guard your relationship. It's very, very important. All right. So let's see now. Neil Price said, love that. Miss Mabel said, can you pray in anger? Why sleep in anger? True.
Yeah.
I can't say I've never slept in anger. I'm not gonna lie, Miss Mabel. I'm just being honest with you. But it's very few and far between. But I can't say that's never, ever happened before. So let's see. She says, hello. Marriage is a private matter. I absolutely agree 100%. And Neil says, show your love to each other in front of your children so they see it is normal and a healthy recipe for marriage when their time comes. Yes, and they're actually learning from us, or children are learning from us. And even sometimes, younger couples, they're dating or they're looking to find a partner. They're looking at you as a married person to see, how it goes. Is this something that I really want to be a part of? They just want to go live with someone, or whatever the case may be. So they're looking at you and say, is it worth it? Because I see so many bad examples around. Marriage lasting for a month,
A week,
for
a
a week.
day, a day.
Yeah, there was one that lasted for a day, and I
Oh
won't
my
call his
lord.
name, but it did happen. They
Yes.
went on the honeymoon to I think it was either Tahiti or
Yeah,
Hawaii.
it's yeah,
And the
yeah,
very next day, they were on separate flights heading home. I don't even know how that happens,
yeah.
honest to God. I'm not even going to try to figure that one. But all we could do is just pray for people and, hope that they'll work it out, because there is hope. So let me see now. So Miss Mabel says, I was shopping and saw a male from the church and stopped to speak to him, and one of our children testified at church and asked for prayer that his mom and dad stayed together. Oh my gosh, that's such a wonderful
Yeah,
story. That is absolutely awesome.
yeah.
That's a good story. And that's what we're there for, to talk to each other. And it's good too that, because they spoke, our pastor at church mentioned on Sunday that it is good to as an older man in the church, to mentor the younger men, and same for the older women too. It's good to mentor the younger women because they're looking to you, and nobody is perfect. They would have made mistakes too, just like anybody else, but that doesn't mean that you don't try. And they'll understand that it's human, as the statement says, it's human to err,
Sure.
whoever said that,
Yes.
right? So you mentor these younger ones coming up, and they can learn from you, and they trust you because of what they see going on. So definitely. So let me see. Miss Penny says marriage affects children. Um, okay, yeah, she said, and she's saying wow to Miss Mabel. And so Tamika says, Miss Marlene, thank you for having me to be a part of tonight's live. I'm wishing you all a happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to say good night from Guyana. Okay, my
All
dear. I
right.
look forward. And you can always direct messenger me on Instagram too if you ever need to talk or just need to call me. I truly miss you, and I pray that everything works out perfectly for you down there. Okay.
Yep.
So we will catch up at
And say hi
another
to your mom
time.
for us.
And this is just spilling off from what we talked about before, and it's about the category of in-laws. We already talked about that in the previous one already, about setting your boundaries, about stuff between you. Sometimes there's some things you have to keep between the two of you because you bring in your in-laws in it, and then it's kind of like they never forget it, and you have moved past it, and they're still back there, and it just makes for an unhealthy relationship. And speaking of in-laws too, it is always great to get the blessing of both families. It just sounds cliche, it sounds old-fashioned, but there is a reason for it, because you are a part of your family. You have spent
Hmm.
all of these years with your family. You love each other. You trust each other. You may, as they say, fight like cats and dogs sometimes as brothers and sisters, or sisters, brothers, whatever, your parents or whatever. But that's your family. You love them. You're hardwired. You want, whether you're admitted or not, you want their approval. So if the in-laws don't approve, every single in law might not approve, but at least a few of them should at least be on your side, you know, because if they all are against you, it's very hard for the relationship to work out, because you'll try to make it work, but then at some point you're gonna miss your family, and it's just kind of like you're just torn apart, and there's this struggle going back and forth inside of you, and it causes unhealthy marriages. So quite often, when there is no agreement between the in-laws, the marriages don't work most of the time. Sometimes they do, but most times they don't, for that reason, because your family is a part of you, and it's important to have them in on the deal. So I just wanted to mention that in there, because I had a coworker. She's a little bit older than me, maybe like about 10 years older. Very, very sweet lady. We don't, she left that company before me. Then I left, and then she retired after that. Very sweet. She was kind of, I was like an older sister to me. And her husband was a Jew, and she was Irish Catholic. And his mother did not like her. Their marriage still worked out, but it was very hard for them. They kind of felt isolated at first, and all of that comes with that. And Jewish people, they tend to eat a certain way. They're very kosher in their meals. Things have to be prepared a certain way. They have their matzah balls and all the other things that they do, and everything like that. And she never taught her how to cook any of it. And this is not anything about, any religion or whatever about anybody. I'm just saying this is what happened to her. And this is why, because of that difference in there. And, for that reason, she said she had to. So I said, so how did you cook for your husband? She said, I bought recipe books, Marlene, and I learned how to cook them. And she did, and she learned it. But that is just a hurdle that she had to go over, because it could have been done so easily. They could have hung out together. And she said, let me show you how I cook my matzo balls. Let me show you how I cook my whatever it may be that they cook. And it would have been a time for them to bond together, a time for her to learn, some of the things that they do and their
Mm.
culture and everything, and make it so much easier. And so that was a struggle. So, it's really important that the families agree. And I'm saying this as a mother because, like I said, I have two sons. They're college age. One's a first year. The other one has another year after this year to go. And hopefully at some point they'll get married and I'll be a mother-in-law, and I have to remember to treat their spouse with love and care, like how I would want to be treated.
Mm.
So I'm just saying that's a very important part of the process.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you hear it at weddings where they say, you've not lost a daughter, you've gained a daughter,
A
a
son.
son, and vice versa, you've not lost a son, you've gained a daughter, and it's a lot of times people look at it as a cliche, and the bottom line is that's how we need to look at it also, because
Hmm.
it's one family becoming a larger family, and that's how, if we love each other and see each other as equals always, then that only widens and makes it better,
Hmm.
and being otherwise, you basically are hurting, you know
For sure.
yourself, you're hurting, your children, whatever. So take that time,
Hmm.
and if there are misunderstandings, whatever, work it out, say you're sorry, whatever, and move
Yes.
forward, because I've seen that happen over the years. I've had
And it's not
friends, and
good.
it hurts, but yeah, I've seen other things that are really good also, other relationships where it's just healthy, you know
Yeah, because I remember too when my husband and I were dating, my mother-in-law. Well, he bought a huge teddy bear for me. We were just dating at the time, and my mother-in-law, she's really good with flowers. She does like like cut flowers, arrange flowers, and all of that. Because I learned some of that from her, and she taught me how to make bows. So like the bows that you see me making, like for the
yeah.
lantern that I did, you can go back and check that video. It's such a beautiful lantern. It's very antique, and that's what I wanted, like a little romantic thing for Valentines or for a wedding or whatever. I'll probably show you in just a second. But he got the big teddy bear. He was where she was at the time. They're just visiting her. And she made a nice little bow. She made the fancy one. She put it around the neck of the teddy bear, and I still have it. I mean, I don't have it in my bedroom, but I still have it. And I remember that kind gesture of her.
Yeah.
So just little things like that, it goes a long way. Fathers-in-law, they can go and they can help their sons-in-law. Maybe you're good at, building stuff, fixing a car, maybe giving a jump start, changing a tire or whatever. Let them do it with you. Maybe you like fishing, go fishing with them. Let
Yeah.
them come fishing with you. Spend a day together, get to know each other. And if you can do it before the actual wedding, it makes it even easier because then you already know this going into it, that was already done. So,
Yeah.
these are just things to bear in mind.
And that would help also, the grandchildren that comes thereafter, and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yes. So Age Graceful said, sorry, I had a phone call. Okay. All right. That happens too. And Tamika says, thank you all for your well wishes and for keeping me in your prayers. Absolutely, Tamika. May God go with you and keep you and your family. As baby said, have a blessed night. I guess she has to go. And Deborah says, my husband is Italian and he loves the Puerto Rican food. And I love when he cooks for me some Italian food. Absolutely. And even that, too, you're cooking in the kitchen together. That's a great way to bond, with each other, so you help each other out and all of that. It's just a wonderful thing. And about, like roles, I talk about like duties, because some people like, this is your job. This is the way my mom did it. This is your job. Da, da, da. I mean, we just try to just make it work. Just because,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mow the lawn. I'm not gonna lie. I've never mowed the lawn ever. I wouldn't even know how to do it. But I may take the trash around, and he's actually washing the dishes when I'm taking that thing around. We're just trying to make it work. Because some people be like, oh, I'm a man. I'm not gonna cook, or I'm not gonna clean, or the leaves is like, I'll never do. I'm not gonna change a light bulb. Light bulb. If you can change a light bulb, change a light bulb. It's okay. But again, that's our take. Everybody has their own thing, how they run their show, their own business. So we can't tell you what to do. We just tell you, what we have done. And again, like I said, can't say we're the perfect marriage, because I really don't think that exists apart from the very beginning when God made the first two people. But we try to help each other. The next one now is when children come. I'm not sure if Warren is still on this chat. Maybe baby duties, because he has a baby that's just a couple of months old. That's my nephew. And I'm telling you, when the children come, especially the first one, oh boy, it is no joke. I'm telling you, because I'm just saying that, some people, their babies are bigger and they sleep longer in an earlier phase. My babies were not like that. They were both 6 pounders, and they woke up like every 2 hours. I was not able to nurse them. So it took almost an hour to feed them, then
Mhm.
burp them, then put them to sleep for 2 hours, and they're up again. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
Are we
after
gonna make it?
yeah, after 2 weeks, you said, okay,
No, 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 no. It was not
honey,
2 weeks. No, sir.
how
No,
long
no, no, no,
was
no. It
it?
was three
It was
months.
3 months, but it felt like 2 weeks.
Well, when we had the baby in America. Went back to Jamaica initially because he was still working down there, right? And once we got back down there and he started working, I was at home all the time. I would just do the whole thing. And 1 to 3 months, I said, honey, listen, I can't do this no more. You
Yeah.
have to help me. And he did it. It makes, I mean, even though I'm there to sleep in the daytime, I had to be sterile because that wasn't nursing. I had to be sterilizing the bottles, getting everything cleaned up for the house, doing the little errands here and there and all of that. We had a helper come in after a while to help out. But nevertheless, still initially it was me, and I'm just like, I need help. So don't be afraid to ask for help if it ever comes to that. You have to share the duties when the children come. And also, it's good to have someone help you out so you can get some alone time together
Yeah.
sometimes. Hopefully you have someone like that in your life. Or sometimes, if there are proper places that have been vetted, because you need to have proper people taking care of your children, because you can't just leave them with anyone, especially when they're younger. But have someone, take care of your kids a little bit, and then
You can get an
you can
evening out,
always get an
maybe.
evening out, just a little
Yeah.
time for each other so you can bond together. Remember the
Mhm.
love you had and all that, well, you have, with your focus, on each other a little bit. So, when the children come, that's something that's very important to bear in mind. And when we moved over here, to this state where we are, we did not have like any family here. So eventually we got really nice neighbors that helped us out. But we kind of took our kids almost everywhere. We were kind of known for that. It's kind of like if you never see them without them kids. And then after all, we got help from someone that we trusted, our neighbor across the street. She's such a sweet lady. She's like a mother to me over
Yeah.
here. And she would help us, with the children. She picked them up from the school bus and they'd be at our house and all of those things. And now they're older, they're all grown up, of course. We have kind of partially like an emptiness, but not quite there yet. So of course we have more time for each other. But when the kids are there, just remember, share the duties as much as you can. Get some help from people you trust so you can have some time together. And that goes such a long, long way. Let me take a look at the comments. I don't want to miss you guys. Comments on here. Miss Mabel says, stay out of your children's marriage. Leave them in the hands of God.
Yeah.
You are not big enough to handle their problems. You
Yeah.
had to pray for yours, so why try ruling others? And that's true
That's
too.
true.
Like I said, I believe in prayer a lot. It changes things. Sometimes you may not get the answer you want immediately, but it certainly does, help you over time. And then Mondell from John's Home Decor says, my husband is very active. Hold
Yeah.
on, I can't see that. Give me a second. She says, my husband is very active doing anything a woman do. I'm very thankful for him. Yes, and we see it all the time. I saw her husband folding napkins. I said, okay, Mr. Dexter, I see you. He was doing that napkin fold. I said, okay, excellent. So it's so important. And it really, really helps to preserve your relationship. Let's see here now. Miss Baby says, my husband cooked and stayed up with the kids when they were sick, dishes, cleaning.
Yeah.
My husband was so good to us. He was such a gem. And you had him for so many years. So that truly was a blessing.
Right.
That's absolutely wonderful. It is a lesson
Yeah.
for everyone.
And he
And
said
Neil
he did
Price
that
says,
everything.
we
Yeah.
did that too. Take our kids everywhere. Yes, because you're over here now. It's not like back when you're in Jamaica, you have all this big family. You can have this one help, that one help, and all of that. So it definitely helps when you have some people coming in to assist you. But anyway, you said you did that too, but your kids are a little bit older now, so they can stay home by themselves. So you said you took them everywhere. We do everything as a family.
Now he can
Now we
go.
are at the stage where we can have dates with each other again. Woohoo! I love it because we're right there with you.
Yep.
So Miss Deborah says, my son was a 9 pound baby. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
okay.
And 22 and a half. Oh my gosh. That's 3 pounds more than mine.
Yeah.
More than 3 pounds, because mine was 1 at 6 and a little bit. She said 9 pounds, oh, nine
And
pounds even,
22,
sorry, or 22
22
and a
and a half
half
inches. Yeah, it's
inches.
not 22-pound
Long
baby. No, no, no.
baby.
No,
I know,
no,
I
no,
wasn't saying that. I thought it was a 9.5 pound, but she said 9 pounds, 22 and a half inches. She said she breastfed for 5 months. After that, I could not do it anymore. I have to bring him to the formula.
no. Yep.
Yes. So it does make it harder when you have to use formula from the very beginning, because for some reason it seems harder to burp them when they drink the formula than when they take the, like take the nurse milk. I don't know why. Maybe it's how it's made up or
You know,
something, but
you're
it's harder for them
digesting
to.
it.
Yeah, the digestion is probably not as natural, so it took a longer
Miss
time.
Mabel, she had 10 kids. So again,
Miss
we
Mabel,
salute you.
what she
I
said?
have a friend that was in Jamaica and he went back to England. He had 12 the
Oh
last
my
time we spoke.
goodness.
So
We had 10, we both
yeah.
worked, we trained our kids to take care of each other, and it worked out just fine. Well,
Hmm.
amen. More power to you. Because I did too, and I was like, that is enough. But things were different back then, because my grandmother had 18 children, 1 8. I kid you not, 18 children. That's what she had. And I don't think she had any C-sections either. She
Hmm.
had them very close together, because they probably did things a little differently then. Honestly, and rest her soul, only 10 of them made it to maturity in terms of like teenage and so on. Most of the other ones, they died at a younger age. But she did have 10 grown children that made it into adulthood. So I don't know how she did it, but she did have that many. But of course, when they're that much older,
You can
the
help each
older
other.
one can help you as they go along. So let's see. Miss Mabel said, you had 10 kids, Miss Mabel. My mom had 9 kids. She said 6 boys and 4 girls. No C-section for me and no labor.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Woo! Okay,
We
salute.
give you the award tonight, Miss Mabel.
Oh my goodness. My first one, it was natural. And I said, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, she said the factory's
Oh
closed
my
right now.
goodness.
So
Oh
hey,
well, I said it was close after the first one, to be
yeah.
honest, because it really was a difficult labor and everything. But when he got to be 3 years old and I saw him playing by himself, and we were over here too in America, so you didn't have as much extended family available. We basically we said yes, we need to give him some company, and so we had another one, and they are such good brothers. I pray God keep them
Thank
that
God.
way. People,
Thank God for that.
talk about them quite a bit sometimes, how they are. So I'm not sure if Miss Age Graceful is on here, but this comes up to your topic, which is basically that you need to dress up and go out sometimes. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like, out to dinner, even just to church. You could just dress up, put on, Miss Age Graceful. She actually, oh, you said you stepped away for a bit. My baby woke
Warren.
up for his nap. I'm going to get right back to you in just a second, Warren, because I did want to get your input on it. But Miss Age Graceful, Miss Michelle, she does, and Penny does it too, from Penny's Lifestyle Living. They do beautiful makeup. You should see how they do over themselves. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so if you don't wear makeup, then that's fine. I don't wear lashes. They're a thing right now, but it's not for me because that's just how I am. But put on some nice makeup, put on something nice, and go out with your husband. And husbands, get a nice haircut. Put on something nice. Sometimes you go out together. And one day it was not even me that got the compliment. He got it from another man, and it wasn't anything like it was platonic. He was just like, brother, you are looking sharp. That's what he said to him. And of course, right?
Yeah, I mean, at
Sometimes,
first I had to like,
yeah, he was
let me
like,
make
what? But
sure it's
I looked
coming
at
from
him
it.
and
All right, yeah, I'm just like,
he was
yeah,
just as a brother. That's what
yeah,
it was. One time I was going to this really, it was like, you are looking so nice. And I wasn't even thinking about it. But put on some nice clothes, dress up, go out, enjoy each other's company. Sometimes, like I said, it may just be to go to church. Take some time, pick out your clothes the night before, what you're gonna wear, everything in order, put on some perfume, put on some cologne,
yeah.
get it going and get going, and enjoy each other's company, because we really don't even know how long we have on this earth.
And when the
And you
kids are
want it
gone, we don't want you to say, who are you?
right, and that's what
I
happens
mean,
sometimes
that's
too.
reality.
Yes,
So you
because
have to spend that time
yes.
and build a relationship as you go, right? And not wait until the kids have grown up and then you get back to it, because then you'd have changed, she'd have changed, and you'll be
Mm-hmm.
starting all over again. So
Yeah.
don't get off the horse. Just keep going day by day. You know.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit for Warren. I hope you can leave me a comment here. We were talking about when the children come into a marriage. That is always, like I was saying, whoa, because initially for me, we had our baby over here. So my husband was with me for the first 2 weeks, and then after that we went back to Jamaica, and he had to go to work, and so I was the one that was at home all the time. And so I said he has to work. So I'm gonna be watching the baby, and our babies were little, so they wake up like every 2 hours. It took 1 hour to feed them because they were on formula and burp them, and then they would sleep for 2 hours and then up again. Well, not the second one, the first one, because we had gone back to Jamaica, and he was working, and like I said, I was at home. And so once it got to 3 months, I'm just like, I can't do this by myself. And I gotta go to work. But I need you to help me. Because in the daytime I can nap a little bit, but then he didn't nap for long. He slept more a little bit in the daytime, I suppose. But I had to be sterilizing the bottles, washing them, sterilizing, like his little delicate stuff. I would hand wash those and all of that. So, it's kind of like you have to share the duty. Otherwise it's gonna be very stressful for your spouse. So you can tell me, I know, Warren, I know that you most likely do that, but I'm just putting it out there, that it's something that really, really helps. You can't just say, like in the old days sometimes too. Because I think that's most likely based on how my parents were. I figure that's probably what happened with them. My mom did everything. She cooked, and my dad worked. She didn't at the time. She cooked, she cleaned, she took care of the babies all the time. But nowadays things are a little bit different. The world has changed how things fall, into place. So it's really helpful to help each other. It really will strengthen your marriage, when you do something like that. So let me see now. She said, God has really been good to us. We really believe in prayer. Prayer works, y'all. Absolutely. And Penny says, yes, I believe in prayer works. And it says, I have to scrape my husband off me sometime. He just
Hey,
okay. Do what you gotta do, man. Miss Age Graceful says God is first and everything. And again, guys,
amen.
check out her channel. She's called Age Graceful. She does beautiful makeup. You gotta come do me one day. You don't live near me, I don't think, but I was just saying if you were nearby, not the lashes, but everything else. She does makeup so beautifully. I remember you did one and you had a kind of like a sage green eye thing. Oh my gosh, I can't like watch everybody's video like all the time, but I watch when I can. If you're in a collaboration, of course, it's kind of like you kind of need to do that. But I pick up wherever I can. But believe me, I do watch when I get the chance. And she does a gorgeous makeup on her, especially for somebody who's more mature. She does that, and she does an excellent job. Let me see. So Miss Mabel says, yes, ma'am, it does. I had precipitated delivery.
Ooh,
As soon as my plug. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's good. It actually helps, especially when you have a couple of them, not to have to go through all of that excessive pain, time and time again. Says your sister, God over everyone and everything. So Warren says, I work from home and my wife is still on maternity leave, so we have a good harmony right now. We share the responsibilities and take turns. It also helps because at 4 months the baby sleeps great. Well, glory to God,
glad.
hallelujah. Because
Yeah,
some of them don't do that.
yeah.
Some of them don't do that. It takes a long time for them to start getting a lot of sleep in. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to move it along, guys. We talked about date night, about the children. The next one is a critical one. When you get sick, but even more so, health
One
reasons.
second.
I think we have a little kid with Tail, my little dog, Dex. He has cancer. You'd have seen my video that I did about it a couple of weeks ago. So he's coming along. He's actually still alive, thank God. He's giving us some more time. I think he saw how sad we were a couple of weeks ago, and he really has been trying. So he went out for some ear. So because he needs to get more oxygen, I guess. So he goes out more often. So we have to go and let him in and all of that. But anyway, I say that to move on. That when you get sick, and even just in terms of men and women, you find that men most likely will not want to go to the doctor to get checkups and stuff like that. But wives, it is very important to get them to get their checkups because early detection, studies have shown that men who are married, they tend to have more early detection and therefore prevent prolonged and excessive disease because they can intervene earlier because your wife told them to go to the doctor. Sometimes it's the other way around. The men tell their wife to go to the doctor. But in most cases, ladies, get your husband. I remember when my husband had to do his prostate exam. He's not here right now. It took me, I think, 2 years to get him to go do it because once you turn 40, you're supposed to do it. Let him check it. It's like, oh, it's so unnatural. I understand that. I do, but we need to do it because if you don't check, then you won't know. I mean, us women, we have to go through that so often, our side of things, but encourage them to go. They're feeling pain in some unusual places, get them to go and get checked out because, you know, healthcare can be kind of expensive, but it's more expensive if you have to get treatment because you don't want to have to go to the hospital over in this country. It costs so much. When you see the bills coming in afterwards, this one send this bill, the hospital send one, the test people send one, the da da da, the doctor, all these other things coming in. So guys, be on top of that. Early prevention is the key. And as I always say, I talk about my apples all the time. Stay regular. If you don't like apples, find something that gets you going that's not too severe. Because if your colon is clean, it keeps you healthier. Again, I'm not gonna say I'm the perfect healthy person, but I try. But keep your system flowing clean, drink a lot of water, and that goes a long way. And don't just jump to take medications without looking at the side effects and being your own advocate, because sometimes they have other things that they can give you that don't cause the same side effects. So even be your own advocate sometimes as far as your health goes. But when your spouse gets sick, be sure to be there for them if you need help sometimes, because sometimes it could be a case where they need to be lifted and you can't manage it by yourself. Get help. If you can afford to hire a professional, then get a professional to help you. But health is very important. The first key, of course, is prevention. So that way you know that you're even catching things early and preventing excessive illnesses. So be each other's keeper. Just say your brother's keeper, be your spouse's keeper, especially, in that regard where you're checking on their health, making sure that everything is okay. So you can be around for a long time to take care of each other. And I have a topic here. The time is going a little bit, but if you guys can stay with me, I'd love for you to stay with me, man. This might not be directly to you, but it is a part of it because it does affect you. And it is about the change. When you have a change in your life as a woman, we call it change of life, menopause, whatever you want to call it. Because when that comes in, I was watching someone's live the other day and she was having perimenopause and she didn't realize until I said it to her. She said, I noticed that last year was getting so irritable. And I'm not sure if her husband actually left for that reason. It sounded like he might have. But guys, there are many, many symptoms to menopause, but perimenopause, right? Sometimes, you can have like migraines very often. So the headache thing is not an excuse in most cases. Don't look over here. That's serious.
What
We're talking about the change of life when we get to that point as a woman, right?
Guess what? Guys go through it too.
Right? In your own way.
We do.
In a different way, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. But anyway, because they talk about things like migraines, you can have fibroids, you can have hot flashes. Of course, your temper is really on and off. You're just kind of like going back and forth all the time, being mean sometimes, and you wouldn't really be that way. Electric shocks, they talk about that. Sometimes you might start having eye problems. You might get thyroid problems related to it in some way. Your eyes itching you. It feel like it's sticking you. You have hair loss. Just so many different things that can happen in that part. So, because she was talking about all the stuff she was going to, and I said, have you considered that maybe you're going to perimenopause? And she was just like, yeah, I think so. And she said she's going to get it checked because those hormones, when they go out of whack, they really can mess you up. But thankfully to God, it doesn't last forever. After a while, it goes away and then everything levels out. Miss Mabel said men are so hard-headed about going to the doctor. What is with that? Tell him.
We do not like to get poked and those things. And yeah. I'll stop right there.
Yeah, but that's the prostate.
The truth is, it's important. It's important. The reality is, guys don't like needles.
Yes.
We don't like to be poked and things of that nature. We're just made different. All right, we're made different, and that's why God gave us a helpmate to help us to get past these challenges in life.
Yes.
Right. So I'm just being real. Right. Hey. Whatever.
Because he did his colonoscopy yesterday. I'm telling this business out in the street, but it took a while for him to go do it. I said, you need
Like I
to do
said,
it.
I
And he did it
know
yesterday. I was
guys do
like,
not like
thank
to
you,
get poked.
Jesus. But you have to, though. I mean, we have to go through all of these things like all the time. We don't
and
like it either, but
and I love you. God made you special.
yes, but we need for
We
you to
love
do
all the
your part
women. They
too. You
are
know what I'm
great.
saying?
And yeah, we have to get help. And that's like I said, God, I thank God for the help.
Miss Mabel said men have a hard time going to get. You see how Deborah Kabasa laugh? If you guys are on the chat, you can see it. By the way, give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. It helps the video to go out to others after it's finished. And please feel free to share this with your friends, with your family, your church people, anybody that you think it can help. Because honestly, we're all here to learn together, to grow together, and just to be a success by the grace of God. So so Deborah cracking up. So I guess she knows she been there. I'm not even going to ask you. It's okay. You don't need to say anything.
Anything is like I said before, women go through menopause, men go through womanopause.
No, that's what Marie said right there. There it is. And
There
then
you go,
she says
Marie.
the
There you
men should
go.
be called
We go
menopause
through
or
womanopause. I
should be
tell
called
you.
another name.
I'm telling you, we go
Menopause.
through it. Guys,
Yes.
they have not done a study on it as yet, but I can tell you we go through our thing too. All right. So hey, don't worry about it.
So the next thing now is let me see. Warren says, what are your views on homeschooling and given today's climate? Oh, I have a lot of friends at my church that actually homeschool their children. If you can afford to do it, I would say it's a good deal. Of course, one parent should need to be home with them because you're going to be virtual and you want to make sure that they're in a safe space and that you're monitoring stuff that's going on. But there is people have had great success with it. The only little concern I have for people I've seen that do it is when they transition to college. If they are going to go to college, sometimes
Yeah.
they're kind of like,
Yeah.
because they're not used to dealing with other people and everything is kind of like, whoa. Either they get overwhelmed or sometimes they go off the wrong way and they have to be guided back in.
Yeah.
Especially if it's far away and they kind of like really communicate with you, by their choice, not yours. Because the colleges are always like, oh, let them be themselves, let them come into themselves, let them discover themselves, etc., etc. So that's the only side. But if you give proper counsel to your child
Yeah.
and expose them to, playing with others, like if you have like play
Church,
dates,
whatever.
through
Yeah.
church, any other organizations you belong to, just other groups that you can be a part of, safe groups, please vet them properly.
Yeah.
But you can always interact that way so they know how to deal with others because that is the social part of it is very, very important for people. So, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, but you just have to get them
Yeah.
exposed because they'll get exposed to sickness. I mean, they'll think that the world is one way and not the other because
Mhm.
our kids at one point, they realize like, why are people so mean? Why are they this way or that way? And the reality is you want to give them the right things and the right values,
Mhm.
but you also have to expose them to the realities of life so that they
Mhm.
can basically overcome those hurdles when they come across
Yes.
those people. It's just the truth. So, you just have to measure it and use wisdom. That's
Absolutely.
all. Yeah.
Yes. And so then Miss Mabel says, "My Lord, the change. I got bad nerves during it. Yeah, nerves is another thing too. I had to pray a lot. My prayer was, Lord, I am not Eve. I did not bite in the fruit. Please take this from me." Yeah, because I mean, when I was going through it, the earlier stages. I mean, I had to do a lot of research because I was having some really bad problems. I don't want to even go into it, but at one point, I thought I was going to die because of one of the things that was
Yeah.
happening from me. And God
Yeah.
intervened and He put me to the right person. They were able to
Yeah.
help me. So, I mean, I guess I can say it was really bad fibroid, but I won't go into the nitty gritty of it. But if you ever need to talk about that, you can always DM me on Instagram. I'm at Marlene's How To, same name as my channel. And, I can talk to you about it because it's a good option for people who are having certain situations. But I'm telling you, it's a lot. And, you really, husbands really need to be understanding. He was maybe initially at first you kind of didn't understand it. And then sometimes, there's things you don't want to do that they want you to do. And I'm not going to go into any further detail.
Yeah, but
And
the
it
thing
does
is,
affect that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So it comes to understanding, So,
And also, like Deborah Kabas had said, communication.
Mhm.
If you're feeling this way, whatever, you see your wife acting a little more expressive, whatever, just say, hey, honey, hey, this is what I'm seeing, so that they are aware that hey, I'm actually a little more expressive than normal,
Mhm.
and that that way you can both work through it together. But
Yes.
don't just sit there and be like, Lord, I'm gonna take a long
Yeah.
walk, and I'll
And some,
see you in
yeah.
2 weeks.
No, not in 2 weeks. No,
Yeah,
no, in two
yeah,
hours. But
yeah.
and
I'm just
sometimes
kidding,
you have to
but
though.
you
You
have
have to walk away
you have to,
because it's like the
yeah,
person doesn't even know what they are. What is coming over them. You're just getting so upset. You're just like, what is this? Or you get feeling hot and just, oh, it's just like, what's going on? So it's just kind of like, patience and understanding goes a
yeah.
long way. Like they said, men have it too, because sometimes they can
Yeah,
be short.
Warren is joking, and he's saying, he's not even 40 years
He
old,
said, by
and
the
he's
way,
saying he's going
I
through
go through
menopause.
menopause
No,
every
no, no,
day.
no,
Oh, no, no, no,
no,
no, you're
no.
not. You're not there yet.
You're,
Trust me, you're not.
yeah, it's okay.
You are not there yet. Believe me. But
We don't wish that on you. You're too young
oh
for
no,
that.
no, 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 no. Enjoy your new married life. Like I was saying in the beginning, the Bible, the first year, I mean, you're in your second year now, yes, but you're still newlyweds, right? The first year, the men were not allowed to go out to war. It was for them to spend time in that honeymoon phase, to be happy with their wife and to get to know each other, the wife of their youth, as they call it, in that earlier stage, and just moving along with it. So let me see. Miss Mabel said, little praying. God heard me. Okay, so it wasn't as bad as you thought it could be.
Yeah,
Yes. So we kind of understand, once you go through it. Penny says, yes, I'm always praying against menopause, even for other women. Keep me in prayer, Miss Mabel. So absolutely, because, we're kind of at the stage we're going through that. And, well, God is able. I mean, I didn't take any hormones. Some people do. I'm just, I try to minimize things that I take, but everybody is different. But of course, hormone replacement always comes up as a big deal. But it wasn't for me, I thought. Scares me a little bit because I have a history of a type of cancer in my family that is linked to that. And so I was very careful about
yeah,
trying to not take any hormones. But sometimes there are other ways around it. There are other things that you can do to cope. And that's why you have to talk to people who are trained in that area, or even people who have gone through it, so that they can help you with it.
right.
So let me see now. So Marie Anetta says, oh boy, the change. Thank goodness some of the bad symptoms I've heard about I am not having yet. Hope they never come. I really hope so too, because I never really got like hot flashes. It was more like a warm flash, like, because I had a friend, I'm there talking to her, and she just had the sweat coming down all of a sudden, just like that. I said, are you having a hot flash right now? She's just like, yes, I am. I said, oh my goodness, I can see it. And then she went through. She's the same age as me, but she was kind of like a little earlier. She got through all of that, and she's good to go. And she made it to the other side. So there is hope. We just have to be patient and wait it out. And there's another time too. Sometimes when men tend to stray, they go off for a younger woman because they can't deal with their wife. And I'm just being honest on this chat. I told you that that's what it's about.
Yeah,
Within reason, I will try to be honest. Sometimes, men will go off, they stray. They want a younger woman because the wife is not, herself. She's not, the woman they thought she was. All those years have been coming together. And then somebody out there paying them all of this attention and everything, maybe at work or church or God, knows where. And then all of a sudden, they can't deal with you anymore, and they go off that way. So you have to
mm,
kind of like refocus. This
right.
is what is happening. I need to help her. I need to work with her, because I could get sick tomorrow with something else, and I need her to help me. And then guess what? Sometimes they run off with a younger thing, and then guess what? When they get sick, they don't want them anymore. They're gone.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah,
That relationship isn't there. That real love isn't there. So, and it's same converse to, if they get sick, then we have to be there for them, because the devil is busy out there, and
yeah,
he's a liar from the beginning. He will try to bring things in your way to kind of like to pull you away. So you have to know that this is what is happening, know who the enemy is, and work it out together. It is so important. So let me see now. Miss Mabel says, Will do, Penny. The change is no joke. We need to pray for each other.
yeah,
Absolutely. Pond and Garden Sanctuary says, Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. We are talking about marriages, relationships, and just trying to, navigate the waters as best as we can. I'm so sorry you came on there, but you can always go to the beginning, once the chat has ended, and you can see all the wonderful points. But if you have any things that work for you in your marriage, you can always leave us a comment. We'll be happy to take a look at it and, talk to the others about it. So let me see now. So he's asking you, he says, did you experience midlife crisis?
No.
Well, we're in midlife right now. Well,
We're-
thankfully to God, knock on wood, not
Yeah.
yet. We try not to get there. Oh my goodness. My husband is, he goes by Mark on here, so that's why you're seeing that. But that's okay. So let's see what else we have here now. So Miss Baby says, Warren, you have a baby. You just got started. Yes, he absolutely did. He absolutely did. But his baby is he's giving him a good time there because he said the baby's sleeping really good. So
Yep.
that is a wonderful thing.
So,
So Anetta says she made it to the other side. Love that. Absolutely. So we did talk about the changes. And we talked a little earlier about mentoring others as well too. It's good to mentor the younger women. If you're an older woman, it's good to mentor them so that way, they can come along and they can learn from you. And also, because someone sent something recently, a video to me, and they were saying the person like over the years, the group of older people would meet. It was maybe like a dozen of them at first, and it went down to 8, then down to 6, then down to 2, and then down to them alone. So there was nobody to meet with anymore. And I put in the chat, I said, an easy fix for this would have been, and it's still not impossible, is to mentor some younger people because not everyone wants it. Sometimes the first time you ask them, they may back away. Take them out to lunch or to dinner. If they have a girlfriend or whatever gender they are, you can always take them along too. Just sit and chat and talk with them. You can teach them something that you know how to do, and then you foster that relationship. With younger folks of the same gender, and that way there's always going to be someone you can talk to. It's not going to be you alone at lunch every time anymore because your older friends passed. You're the last one left, and there's no one coming up behind you because they need this. They need guidance. And like I was saying before, I typically a lot of older people, I typically they're good mentors to me, and I so appreciate them. And any younger woman, even like on YouTube right here, whenever I do my collaborations, I try to get some of the younger women in with me as well, whether they're new to YouTube or their channel is new or whatever. And we just grow together and we have that relationship and we help each other, and that's what it's about. And by the way, guys, just a promotion, if you never subscribed to my channel before and you're on here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap on the notification bell. And you can share this video or any of my other ones with people out there that you think the information can help. I'm mostly doing gardening in my regular videos, but my lives are topical, they're seasonal, and sometimes I'll try to. Most times I'll fit in a little decoration, but today it's really long, so I'm not gonna try to do that. We talk about privacy as well. Don't put your stuff out there on social media. Your dirty laundry stays at your house. And even with your in-laws, be careful what you tell them because they'll hold on to it and they will not let it go. And then it's gonna come back after you have forgiven each other and move on. So just be careful what you do. But of course, you need to have people you trust that you can confide in if you really need to vent. But just be very, very careful. Guard your privacy and guard your boundaries. It will take you a very long way. Faithfulness, be faithful to each other. It's very, very important. I touched on that a few little bit about rule. And just basically to enjoy each other's company, enjoy each other, be there for each other, love on each other. And I just love to see, I need parting words from each person that's on here. If you think you have something to offer, it could be one word, it could be a sentence, just something that you believe will help people that are fostering relationships right now, people considering a mate, people who maybe are even their marriage is in trouble right now, because we are here for people like that, to all of us, you know, things that you think. So if you could just leave me one line, just tell me on there what you think it would be. Ours is always keep God in the center. There is no perfect marriage. Be each other's friend.
yep.
You can't have a best friend that's not your spouse. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. Your spouse needs to be your best friend.
Yep.
That's it. Once you get married, that changes. It may sound really weird to people, but my mom, second to my sister, because we were very close, me and my mom. You know how it affected me when she passed 10 years ago, right? But she really was my best friend, you know? Especially as I got older, we could tell each other things more and more that I couldn't maybe tell her when I was a little bit younger for fear, because she was very strict. She loved me to death, but she was a very strict mom. And I'm glad that she did, because it made me the person that I am, right? But once you get married, that has to change. You have to be there for your spouse as their best friend. You can have close friends, that's wonderful. And again, that's my take. Everybody has your own thing, but that's just my feeling. So that's what I'm leaving you with. Keep God in the center. There is no perfect marriage. It does take work, and be each other's friends. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look and see what you all have saying here. So let me see now. So Pastor Juanita says, absolutely, the young people, they need guidance. I shared this video with a lot of young people from our church because the two of you are truly godly examples. Oh, thank you so much. And
Thank
we
you.
cannot do it without him. I never take any praise or any glory if it's not for him. We couldn't
Yeah.
do it. He put us in specific circumstances, where it was easier for us. I have to say that. And we just try to do the best that we can and to try to guide our children and anyone who wants to hear from us as to what they can do. So let me see now. So and thank you so much. I just love you so much. You know that. So Miss Mabel said, stay prayed up and believe that God will do it for you and your marriage. That is it, God.
Amen.
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 Pond and Sanctuary. I'm sorry, sir. I know you have I know you have a channel. I've seen you a couple of times. I'm so sorry I forgot your name. If you would like, you could put it in the comments as well. But he did say yes. Say
Dear.
yes, dear. And
In 40.
just say yes, dear. I just
Hey.
got it.
Hey.
That is such a good one. That's what the men said. They said the men must say, just say yes, dear. They had a show. Well, never mind. Let me not say it. But anyway, but yes, dear. Absolutely. They say that because they say happy wife,
Happy
happy
life.
life, right? We're not always right, ladies. And don't forget that we don't know everything. We have women's intuition sometimes, but we don't know everything. We make mistakes too, and we have to ask for we have to apologize and ask for forgiveness just like anyone. And you said you're married for 48 years. Well, hats off to you.
Amen.
Congratulations. Hats off to you. Got two more to go for 50. I hope you're going to have a nice big golden celebration, whether privately or with a group, whatever you decide to do. I do wish you all the best and many, many more happy years. So Aneta says, marriage is not easy. You have to put the work in. It requires nurturing.
Yes.
Absolutely. And they have 30 years. They're younger than us. I tease her all the time that you got married at 5. She said 6 years old. So I said, okay, we'll go with that. But yeah, so it really does take nurturing. So Neil says, keep loving each other even after the arguments.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Age Grateful said that's right. So I guess you agree with her 100% in what she said. And let me see.
Miss Mabel
Warren says,
says,
this is a good life. Keep it up. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming. I guess you need to catch up on your rest because you have a 4-month-old baby. So thank you so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate you. Age Grateful says, we go to church each Sunday and remind one another what's right to do in life. And that's very
yeah.
important. The Bible is a very good example too. Just go on with that. We hold one another accountable, and that's important
That's
too.
true. That's true.
And again, you sometimes you have to confront each other, but do it in a way that people will want to talk to you. They will want to, your spouse will want to say, okay, I made a mistake, or that's the way you see it, or that's the way you want it to be done. It's good to ask questions, but ask it in a way that they will want to, comply and give you an answer. And compromise, sometimes compromise sounds like a dirty word, but in marriage, it's really not. You really have to be there for each other, and it's, you give and take. It's a lot about that. So Miss Mabel says, I enjoy this life. Thank you both. You are a blessing, as are you. And I pray for you
Thank
and
you.
your family that everything works out for you. She says, I was a widow when I met my husband and was never going to marry again. But we all need we all need a help meet. Absolutely. So you
Yeah.
are at 2 years now. And I'm glad that, God gave you another chance at another marriage because He has
Yes.
different plans for everyone. We don't know what they are. And we just go, from one to, put one step before the other. She said, thank you. This was nice. Thank you so much. She said, amen. My husband is absolutely my best friend. I'm so blessed. God has truly blessed me. He is such a godly man. He makes me laugh. And because of his love for God, I really
Yes,
will
he
want.
is.
Yes, Apostle is. And please bid him good night for us. If he ever gets a chance to watch this, we'd absolutely love for him to see it as well, too. And anything off ear, once we're off, you want to share with us, too, we're happy to get that information. So let me see. Miss Mabel says, I was a queen and I'm going to keep my crown. Absolutely, ma'am. Nothing
Yep.
wrong with that. And Pastor Juanita says 30 years on July 31st. All right. Congratulations. All right. Johnson Blicker says, thank you so much, Miss Marlene and Mark. It's always a pleasure to meet you here. Thank you so much, my dear. And keep loving on that wonderful husband that you have. And I know
Yep.
he'll do the same for you. You guys are a wonderful example. Keep praying is very important. I thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And I hope to see you on the next one. Be sure to check out my regular videos. My lives are typically every other Saturday, but sometimes, for whatever reason, I try to do them a little bit more frequently. Like this one, really, would have been next week, but Valentine's is Tuesday, so I kind of had to do it today. But whenever you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. Let me wrap it up here. She says, Deborah says, I'm going to call it a good night. I have my 14-year-old grandson this weekend. He's asking for snacks. Absolutely, because we are heading off right now, too. Right now. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. And God bless you all. And I hope to see you in the next video or the next live, whichever one you prefer. Take care, guys. Love you lots.